If you clicked on this video, this is your sign to know your worth, love yourself, and finally change your life. My cognitive neuroscience notes. This is just proof that you can do things you don't know how to do. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kiana, and today I am helping you learn to know your worth, love yourself, and finally change your life by starting your personal development journey. Now, if you've never heard the word personal development before, it's basically exactly what it sounds like, basically just like self-improvement, except you are learning strategies, skills, and talents to help yourself grow and realize your self-potential. Personal development can be a tool to help you achieve your goals, become the best version of yourself, and create your dream life. It is my #1 passion in life, and I am so excited to help you start your personal development journey. A huge part of starting your personal development journey is knowing why you're starting. I just want to say this is a judgment-free zone. I have literally been in your shoes. If you feel like you don't have any potential, you've never set goals, you're lacking purpose, you don't have good friends, believe me, I was there too. About 8 years ago, it was one of the lowest points in my life, and I remember thinking, I cannot do this anymore. After I just broke up with my long-term boyfriend, I was being excluded from my friend group. I felt like no one in my life was validating me, and I realized that I just had to know my worth and validate myself because no one was going to do it for me. The #1 rule of personal development, you can read about this in pretty much any personal development book, you are 100% responsible for your own life. This doesn't mean that things that happen to you are your fault, but it does mean that you are responsible for your reactions and where you go from there. If you feel any of these things and you want to achieve things, you want to feel special and loved, you are ready to change, even if you don't know how. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of journaling. It's one of the #1 things that changed my life. So I want you to grab your journal. We're going to be doing some journal prompts. I want you to think about what you're most unhappy with right now, with yourself and with your life. Chances are it's probably the same thing. After you've identified what is making you unhappy, I want you to describe the feelings you feel that are associated with unhappiness. Maybe you don't feel good enough. Maybe you don't feel worthy. Maybe you don't feel confident. And I want you to pick out of that list of the negative feelings that you're feeling, which one is the most important to you. I don't feel courageous. I don't feel special. I don't feel worthy. Which one is it? And from there, take that statement and I want you to write, I am going to be blank. For me, I was unhappy because I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel valuable. I didn't know my worth. I remember thinking back at New Year's Eve between 2016 and 2017, I wanted to know my worth. I wanted to love myself. And that was my why. That was my purpose for starting my personal development journey. Once you have that I am statement of what you are going to be working on, what is going to be the why and the purpose behind your personal development journey, I want you to really dive into this next prompt. Now, just to keep things simple, I'm going to use my own example, but feel free to add in the word you chose. Here's the prompt. How would a person who loves themselves act? What would be the best version of a person who loves themselves? And this is the fun part because you get to put in all the details and what you really think the best version is of someone who loves themselves from your perspective. I want you to be super authentic and vulnerable with yourself about what that looks like. What is her mindset like on a daily basis? How does she approach challenges? What kind of goals does she set? What kind of habits does she have? What's on her vision board? Have fun with this. And the last prompt we're going to do is, what would somebody who loves themselves life look like? What would her morning routine look like? What would her night routine look like? What would her friendships be like? What would her hobbies be? What kind of job does she have? What is on her life bucket list? Get detailed. Use your own authentic perspective. I want you to be unapologetically you, because that is how we teach ourselves how to love ourselves. If you want to know your worth, you really need to start creating a new belief system for yourself. Your beliefs end up shaping your habits, and your habits shape your beliefs. It's kind of like this ongoing cycle. If you've read Atomic Habits, then you've definitely heard about this. I literally brought out my cognitive neuroscience notes for this. If you guys didn't know, I just graduated from UBC with honors in nutrition and a minor in psychology. And throughout my psychology minor, I took courses such as brain and behavior, personality psychology, health psychology, and cognitive psychology, just to name a few. And I learned so many things about the brain and how it works. But one of the biggest takeaways I learned from from a combination of studying psychology and reading up on it on my own interest in personal development, is that the brain plays a huge role in creating our reality. If you're interested in manifestation at all, you've probably heard this, but in the hindbrain, there's a part of the brain called the brainstem, and within that region of the brain, there's a system called the reticular activating system. Now, don't quote me because I am going off of memory a little bit here, but there's a ton of research out for you to do yourself, and all you have to do is look this up. Make sure you're reading scientific journals. Meta-analysis are always best. Recent scientific journal publications are great too. But the RAS plays a role in conscious attention and sensory perception, which means that the RAS focuses on information that we deem important, such as our beliefs. If we believe that we know our worth, we love ourselves, our RAS will filter in information that confirms those beliefs. If we have negative beliefs about ourselves, we're essentially training our RAS to take in more information related to those negative feelings we have, which creates negative experiences for us. But the way we feel about ourselves can be shifted if we consciously try to be more optimistic, to have a self-love mindset. That is why it is so important to not only have your beliefs, but to practice them in the way you live. Because what you believe about yourself creates your reality in the way you perceive it, but also in the action you take in the world. And we're gonna talk about this more later. That is why it is so important to hold positive beliefs about yourself. Happy Valentine's Day! It would not be a video about knowing your worth if I didn't share with you how I'm spending Valentine's Day as a single gal. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you shouldn't romanticize holidays or big moments or just celebrate life in general. And I feel like Valentine's Day is a really good example of that. I feel like we fall into habits in our 20s where we don't end up doing things if we're not in a relationship, or if we don't feel like we have like the perfect friend group. This is your sign to romanticize life and just celebrate all the little things, no matter what era you're in. My mom has a tradition every year of having a Valentine's Day party, and you know I took that and ran with it. And I just thought this would be a great way to show you guys how you can romanticize your life in little ways every single day, no matter what era you're in.
I gotta say it twice, it ain't my fault. Every little thing got a price, that's what I thought. That's what they taught. Yeah, I'ma take my chance till I drop. You
made cream soda sangrias, and they're so good. Yeah, I didn't think it would taste good because I added coconut cream, but once I mixed it, it started tasting really good. There's cream soda, red saintly, coconut cream, and cranberry black cherry juice. That makes the biggest difference for red sangria. I'll definitely be making more of these.
I've been attached, just looking out. We move so fast, was moving south. Through my secret sauce, boo in and out. Miss how you gloss that cream out.
Never does anything.
Oh, is it a mark? Oh, it's so cute. It has a cupcake on it. Ooh, Sephora. Oh.
New bitty, she ain't let my off yet. Could have been you, still feeling on my ditty, but you lost that. You had real privileges for this. All snap, now you getting time out, cause you hit it with my heart.
Don't limit this just to having positive beliefs about yourself. Extend this to having positive beliefs about your life. To some degree, knowing your worth and loving yourself, and consequently changing your life from that, requires a strong mindset. Get out of the pity party mindset. I'm 100% responsible for my life and my reaction. And even though I can't control everything, I can control how I react to everything. And this will allow you to build a disciplined mindset that also allows you to have self-compassion for yourself when you need to take a moment to be sad and feel those negative feelings, but also recognize that wallowing and feeling discouraged will actually make you feel worse over time if you spend too much time doing it. And you will learn intuitively deeply what that is for you. Another amazing way that you can strengthen your mindset and create a positive, optimistic, abundant mindset that believes in yourself, knows your worth, and loves yourself for who you authentically are is by writing down the best moment every single day. Every single day since 2017, I wrote down the best moment of my day, literally every single day for the last 8 years. I actually don't even have my journal from 2017 because I was literally writing out the best part of my day on scraps of paper I ripped out of notebooks. Okay, you guys, I did this every single day since 2017, and then we have all my bullet journals from 2018 to this year, 2025 on the bottom. And what I noticed is that over time, I became slightly more optimistic, slightly more happy, slightly more impressed with the life I was living. And over time, that contributed to me feeling better about myself because I started to actually like the life I was living. I think sometimes when we think of living our dream life, we sometimes forget that we're not living for this future version of ourselves. We're not living for the future where we have all our dreams come true. We're also living for this moment right now. And it's so important to romanticize it because this version of you deserves to enjoy as much of the moment as the future version of you does. And even on the bad days, I would have days that were so terrible, days where I didn't leave my bed in 2017. This was really the lowest point in my life. Even on those days when I didn't leave my bed, I would still find something to write down. I literally have dates in my head that I can tell you that are some of the worst days of my life. I know off the top of my head, I still wrote down something. When you're disciplined with a practice like that, writing down the best moment of every day, finding something to be grateful for, that tells you something about your identity. I wanted to love my life. I wanted to be happy. By writing down something every single day, by choosing to be optimistic, by choosing to see the silver lining, it over time told me I'm a happy person, and I kept that habit up for the last 8 years. I'm not saying that's the only thing that made me happy, but it made me recognize like, hey, like there is some good things in my life. Sometimes getting ice cream is enough. Sometimes watching TV with your parents is enough. Honestly, some days when days are really hard, being alive is enough. There is always something you can be grateful for and be happy about in your life. You just have to take the discipline and have the mindset to look for it. A big part of knowing your worth is knowing your potential and believing in yourself so much, loving yourself so much that you go after the things you want in life. We are going to be doing a really fun activity. We are going to be turning our manifestations into goals and into our reality to create our dream life. Don't be fooled by this plain little black book. I actually hosted my very first workshop on the weekend with 3 of my good friends. We have a little group here in Vancouver called Counter In. It's basically a group for women who want to have deep connections but also grow and become the best version of themselves. And so we held a workshop this weekend to really kickstart our first event of 2025. And the topics that were included in the workshop were manifesting, investing, and networking. And I was in charge of the manifesting portion, but I also designed a workbook for our workshop. And so I'm going to be walking through, not the entire workshop because people did pay for this, but I'm going to be walking you through the manifestation questions that I created for our workshop. So this would be a great time to grab your journal. Let's walk you through this amazing set of exercises. It's only 5 questions and I know you're going to love them. Sorry, but tell me this workbook isn't so cute. And just so you guys know, I had no idea how to do this. This is just proof that you can do things you don't know how to do. You can start anywhere. The first question is that I want you to ask yourself, what is your biggest dream? Describe in detail why it's your dream and how it would change your life. I want you to think about the who, what, when, where, why, relevant to you and your dream. Who do you want to be? What is your dream in detail? Where would this dream take place for you? When can this dream take place for you? And even further with the when can you start? Can you start tomorrow? How can you start tomorrow? Why is this your dream? I want you to be super, super, super detailed with the why. Have fun with this. Pause the video if you need to. The next question, what is the first step in bringing this manifestation to life? The second, the third, brainstorm 3 to 5 baby steps you can take to crystallize this manifestation into reality. You're taking your biggest dream, that manifestation. It is now a goal, and we are breaking it down into baby steps. What is the first step you can take? Moving on to question number 3, make a tentative plan to turn your manifestation into goals and into your reality. Create achievable and believable goals for each week for the rest of the month. So today, when I post this video, it is going to be February 16th. I want you to make a goal for this week. Maybe it includes that baby step in the last question that you just did, and I want you to achieve it by next Sunday. From there, what can you do the following Sunday on March 1st? You get the principle. Set goals for each week of the next month. And then when you start feeling confident with meeting your weekly goals, then you can set monthly goals. Now we have the last question, but it is a 2-parter. So we're going to break it down. Create a backup plan for when you get off track or are out of alignment with your goals. How will you get back on track if you fall off your goals? I want you to make an accountability plan for you. I think the best plan out there, personally, I like to do this, is when I fall off my goals, I will not take more than 24 hours to get back on. You don't need a new week, a new month, or a new year to get back on track with that goal. That is how I get back on track. You can also keep yourself accountable with positive reinforcement. Maybe you will treat yourself for getting back on track. Maybe you will have an accountability buddy and you would tell that friend, hey, can you keep me accountable for when I fall off with my goals? Can you check in with me? And if you don't have someone, set a reminder on your phone. There's nobody who's going to hold you to your goals like you will, because you are 100% responsible for your life, achieving your goals and your own success. Now, the second part is how will you get back in alignment if you lose sight of your goals or your goals have changed? When you get out of alignment with your goals, this means that it's not that the things you want have changed. Usually it's just your approach to getting them has changed. The action has usually changed. You never really change the goal per se, but sometimes you would change the approach to how you get there. And when I say you're out of alignment, it means that it's not that the goal isn't correct for you, unless really it isn't what you want. That does happen sometimes. If you really don't want it, then maybe it's not aligned for you. But sometimes the timing isn't aligned in the way that maybe you're too busy to take this big of a step. I wouldn't say like don't take action towards your goals, but maybe you just take a smaller step right now because of how busy you are. And over time, you will see how you can take aligned action in a way that works for you. And you'll start to know yourself and your life well enough that you will know what is too much for you in the moment, what is too little, and you'll be able to get back into alignment because you'll be so in tune with what you need and what you really want the more that you do this work on your personal development journey. When you are going about your day, I want you to ask yourself questions like, what would a person who knows their worth do? What would a person who loves themselves do? Don't worry about what that actually is or how to do that. Trust your intuition when it comes to becoming someone who knows their worth and loves themselves and taking action accordingly. A lot of this personal development journey is trial and error. Something I would recommend is keeping a habit tracker, because that is going to help you uncover a lot of the emotions behind your habits and how they really make you feel about yourself. I've been keeping a habit tracker for over 5 years now, and I will say it's definitely one of the things that have changed my life. And when I have all these habits, I know that's a crazy ton of habits. I'm not pushing myself to do these habits every single day, but these are the habits that make me feel like the best version of myself. And so I notice that when I have dots down the entire page, that is a day I'm probably feeling like the best version of myself. You can experiment, use trial and error to figure out which habits make you feel your best. Like I said, I've been doing this for 5 years. Now, I'm just gonna be super honest about this. Sometimes personal development takes a long time, but for me personally, habits didn't take a long time to conquer. I would say in 2019, when I started using a habit tracker, that is when I actually started to figure out, oh wow, this habit makes me feel good. And like I said, I've been on my personal development journey for 8 years now. And for, I would say the first 3, I wasn't really even aware that it was a personal development journey. Some of the habits that made me feel like my best version in 2019 are going to be different in 2025. 2019, I graduated from high school. 2025, I am post-grad and self-employed, so my life is different. And that is okay. I think something that's super important on your personal development journey is that even though the version of you that you are right now and is probably your most unhappiest, doesn't feel good about yourself and lacks potential, I want you to know that this version of you, or that version of you, if that is in the past, or maybe that's in the future and you haven't experienced that yet, that version of you is still worthy, and that is why you're here showing up. This message is for that worst version of you, because even she is valuable and is loved, and deserves this opportunity to realize her potential, because all the versions of you have different elements of what you need. I laugh because my 18-year-old version of me was probably a lot more fun than the 23-year-old version of me. But then again, I know the 23-year-old version of me is a lot more socially aware and intelligent. So I encourage you to recognize aspects of past versions of you and present versions of you and future versions of you that have all these amazing things about themselves. Have fun with your habits and don't experiment with too many at first. I've been doing this for years. I'm very confident in myself, if that wasn't obvious. The way I show up on camera, the way I show up in person is because I've done this work and I've taken the time to get to know myself and love that person and accept them for when they're not always perfect or don't show up right. And I feel like that comes through on the camera, because when you learn to love yourself, you learn to love all of you. And so I know that not every day is going to be perfect. I don't think I have one day in there where I've got all those habits, and that doesn't bother me because I know that I'm not going to be perfect every single day. So maybe start with 3 to 5 habits. You could even start with 1 habit every single day. Choose habits that make you feel like you know your worth, that you love yourself, that you are becoming the best version of you. And that is how you will start to take not only aligned action to becoming that version of you, but aligned action towards your goals. The number one thing you have to remember if you want to know your worth, never settle, and learn to truly love yourself for who you authentically are, is to be committed to knowing your worth. Life is going to throw you curveballs. Like I said in the video, you can't control everything, but you can control how you react to everything. After this video, I've given you the basics on how to create a new mindset, how to become optimistic, how to see everything in life as an opportunity. I encourage you to see when things don't go to plan, how it's an opportunity for you to know your worth and love yourself even deeper. How you can show up for that why and that purpose you created earlier in the video. I encourage you to ask yourself, what would the best version of me do? And even if you don't know exactly what that is yet, follow your intuition. Be committed to it. It doesn't necessarily matter what you do. The aligned action and the how doesn't matter as much as your why and being committed to it. If you don't ever give up on trying to know your worth, love yourself, and be the best version of you, the universe will never stop giving you opportunities to show up as that person. And even more so, when we draw back on the neuroscience we talked about, your brain will keep creating experiences that are aligned with you knowing your worth, loving yourself, and becoming the best version of you. You are 100% responsible for your life. And in some ways that's scary, but in other ways it's empowering. This is your first step. You wouldn't be here if I didn't think you were ready. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't think you were ready. That is why you clicked on this video in the first place.